Hello everyone, I hope you have already clicked like and subscribe on the channel, because today you will find a very cool video. Yes? Well, let's go! Today we will tell you about the most nuclear countries in the world. And our current list of the nuclear club opens Iran. To date, it's officially announced which countries possess nuclear weapons, and Iran is not one of them. However, he did not curtail work on the nuclear program, and there are persistent rumors that this country has its own nuclear weapons. The Iranian authorities claim that they can build it for themselves, but for ideological reasons they are limited only to using uranium for peaceful purposes. The list of countries with nuclear weapons in 2022, to the great horror for the Western world, included the DPRK. Flirting with the atom in North Korea began in the middle of last century, when Kim Il-sung, frightened by US plans to bomb Pyongyang, turned the USSR and China for help. The development of nuclear weapons began in the 1970s, froze with the improvement of the political situation in the 19th, and naturally continued with the deterioration. Nuclear tests have been taking place in the might-proper state since 2004. Israel has never said its own nuclear weapons, but neither has it claimed the opposite. The piquancy of situation is given by the fact that Israel refused to sign in treaty on the non-proliferation of the nuclear weapons. Along with this, the Promised Land visually monitors the peaceful and not so peaceful atoms of its neighbors, and it's necessary does it not hesitate to bomb the nuclear centers of the countries as it was with Iraq in 1981. According to rumors, Israel has every opportunity to create a nuclear bomb since 1979. The lights flash suspicious similar to nuclear explosions they recorded in South Atlantic. It is assumed that either Israel or South Africa or both of the states together are responsible for these tests. Despite the successful detonate nuclear charge back in 1974, India officially recognized itself as a nuclear power only at the end of the last century. However, after detonating 3 nuclear devices in May 1998, 2 days after that India announced its refusal to first tests. It is no wonder that having a common brothers and begin a state of permanent unfriendlies, India and Pakistan are trying to overtake their neighbor, including the nuclear field. After the 1974 India explosion, it was only a matter of time before Islamabad developed its own. As the then Prime Minister of Pakistan stated, "If India creates its own nuclear weapons, we will do it all, even if we have to eat grass." And they did it, however, with 20 years delay. The UK is only country in the nuclear five that has no conducted test on its territory. The British preferred to do all nuclear explosions in Australia and Pacific Ocean, but since 1991 it was decided to stop them. However, in 2015 David Cameron gave a spark, admitting that England was all ready to drop a couple of bombs if necessary, but he didn't tell who actually. China is the only country that has communicated itself not to launch nuclear strike against not-nuclear states. And at the beginning of 2011, China announced that it would maintain its weapons only at minimum sufficient level. However, since then, Chinese defense engineers have invented 4 types of new ballistic missiles and are capable of carrying nuclear warheads. So the question of the exact quantitative expression of the minimum level remains open. In total, French conducted more than 200 nuclear weapons tests, starting from an explosion in the French colony of Algeria and ending with the 2 atolls of French Polynesia. Interestingly, France has consistently refused to take part in the peace initiatives of other nuclear countries. It did not join the moratorium on nuclear tests in the late 50s of the last century, did not sign in treaty on the prohibits of military nuclear tests in the 60s, and joined the non-proliferation treaties only in early 90s. The country with the strongest army in the world is also the first power to carry out a nuclear explosion and the first and only one at the moment to use nuclear weapons in a combat situation. Since then, the United States has produced 66.5 thousand units of atomic weapons of more than 100 different modifications. The main area of US nuclear weapons consists of ballistic missiles on submarines. Interestingly, United States as well as Russia refused to participate in the negotiations on the complete renunciations of nuclear weapons that began in the spring of 2017. The world's #1 nuclear power in 2022. Some of the weapons were inherited by Russia after the end of the existence of the USSR. The existing nuclear warheads were removed from the military base of the former Soviet Republic. According to the Russian military, they may decide to use nuclear weapons in response to similar action, or in the case of strikes with conventional weapons, as the result of which the very existence of Russia will be threatened. On February 19, 2022, Russia conducted large-scale exercise of the strategic deterrence nuclear forces with the launches of cruise and ballistic missiles. And that's all for today. I hope you really like it. Which the countries is better equipment and didn't get into this list? Don't forget to write in comments about this. And goodbye for everybody.